It's good to have you here, Kamil. Welcome.
Hey, Steve. How are you?
Good. Am I pronouncing your first name properly?
You're pronouncing it just right, sir.
Yeah. And now I take it you're living in England. You sound very, very British to me, Kamil.
Yes, I am from the UK. I'm in the Midlands, so I'm near Birmingham.
Oh, okay. So the Midlands. So you're a pretty young guy. Tell me about your background a little bit and how you got into the whole e-commerce game, and then what kind of prompted you to start teaching it the way that you do. Because your channel seems to be doing really well, at least on YouTube. And so just give me a little bit of the background.
Yeah, so I'm 21 at the moment, turned 21 in May the 10th, and I started my whole e-commerce journey back in 2015. I was around about 15, 16 years old. I just quit college and my job, and I got into the buying and reselling game, and it was the concierge service of basically buying high-end goods that are very rare to find, and then I was selling them to very important people like TV show celebrities, football players, and stuff like that. And then in 2017, I came across dropshipping, gave it a go, and in my first year, I was able to do $25,000 in revenue. And then in 2018 to 2019, during Q4, I was able to do $1 million in revenue. And then from 2019 to 2020, I've been doing multiple seven figures. And then whilst I was doing that, I was joining lots of Facebook groups. When people ask questions in the Facebook groups, for those that have been with me since they first seen me, I'd answer people's questions, not by a few couple of lines. I'd write paragraphs helping people out in these free Facebook groups. And then I thought I'd make my own Facebook group, because in that way I don't need to post on other people's. And then from there, people were like, Cam, make a YouTube channel. So then I made a YouTube channel. Forward a year and about 6 months now, I'm at 91,000 subscribers, and we're just killing it in the dropshipping scene at the moment.
So I think the message of your life is stay in school.
Yeah, definitely not for myself, no.
Yeah, but you did find your niche, and obviously you're motivated by learning, excited by discovery, and it's interesting how you have this passion for sharing, passion for teaching others, and obviously real skill at it.
Yeah, I've grown up my whole life around people, my family saying, look, whatever you know, you should help other people with it. So if you've got something that can help others, just share it. Don't be shy, Cam, to share it. Like, it's even the simplest thing is when I know it's a pretty weird example. It's even with food. If whatever food you've got, if you've got anything that somebody wants, just give them a little bit of it. Like, it's just little things like that growing up that has made me who I am today. And I'm not scared to hold back and give people what they want.
So to give us a little bit of a synopsis, we've got a big mix of people that'll be on with us for this live stream. So some might not really understand the nuance of the drop shipping game. Actually the whole e-commerce, because you don't just do drop shipping, you also do online stores. But talk to me about just what the infrastructure, of the classic drop shipping business looks like.
Yeah, so dropshipping is a business model where you have an online store, which is your own. It's not Amazon, it's not eBay. You've got your own Shopify or WooCommerce website, and you've got products that you don't currently hold. Your supplier in China or the US or Europe will hold all the stock for you. Once an order is placed on your website, you don't do anything. You just send the information to the supplier through an API, and they will handle all the logistics for you by sending that product to the customer, and you don't ever see it.
So the dropship, so it's very similar in a lot of ways. I think maybe more people are familiar with what Amazon's doing with their fulfillment by Amazon, where they're doing the warehousing.
So it's basically like Amazon FBA. It's like Amazon FBA. It's like Amazon FBA, but your supplier isn't Amazon FBA. It's somebody else. It's not like a big global brand. It's just somebody else.
Now, are you typically going direct to the manufacturer, or are there amalgamators that are pulling a lot of products together?
There's a lot of people that pull products together now. When you scale aggressively, you tend to go straight to the direct manufacturer. So when you're scaling, when you have to buy in bulk, you're going right to the manufacturer, and that's how you get your costs really low.
Now, the Asian marketplace, Alibaba, is that kind of the wellspring from which much of this comes?
So yeah, Alibaba is one of the biggest outlets where a lot of the stuff goes down. So that's one of the biggest hubs. It's not the actual it's not like That's the only one. There are a few others out there like DHgate, Buy Good. There's loads of them.
Okay, so you search. So now your journey when you go to sell a product, what's the kind of the discovery process? How do you first of all determine that there's a product that you're interested in creating a drop shipping vertical for?
Yeah, so what I do is I go on to my actual softwares to find these products like Ecom Hunt, Dropship Rabbit, Google Trends, AliExpress, Dropshipping Center. And if I just scroll through something and I'm like, oh my God, what's that? The thumbnail of the item, if it stands out to me, then it must stand out to other people. So then I'll look into it, see what it is about, see what it offers. And then I'll do some more due diligence by looking at the daily orders of the product, seeing if the Google Trends for that certain niche or relative words related to that product are currently trending. And then I look to see if there's any other advertisers selling it, how well are they doing based on clicks and store visits. And then I'll make a decision if I feel like it's worth going with or not.
So you use a lot. So the initial stages for product discovery for you is a lot on your own personal interaction, your own personal reaction. So do you find that your customer avatar really reflects your nature? Like you sell more to your peers than to me?
No, I disconnect everything. So when I'm looking for products, it's not who I am. It's about coming across from a generic point of view. So when you're looking through these products, if you don't like I have no interest in makeup. I have no interest in wearing waist trainers. I have no interest in all that kind of stuff. But if I'm scrolling through these websites and it stands out to me like, oh, hold on a second, then of course I'm going to have a look into it. I can't be biased. You've got to be completely unbiased when you're doing it.
Okay. And so you find then a product that you're interested in, and you've got we'll share the video. You've got a really nice video tutorial where you talk about the creation process of creating the ads, etc., as it goes through. But let's talk then about if you've taken once you've picked the product, then you have to bring it to market, and you could bring it into your store, or you could just use their own. Do you have to create your own store, or
yeah? So with the way we do dropshipping, we create our own store through Shopify or WooCommerce.
Okay, so you always your store will most people have related products within their store, or will it be a real potpourri?
Yeah, so it just depends. Well, me personally, through Q1, Q2, Q3, these are times of the year I'll do a one product store where I build one store just around that one product. And then in Q4, Black Friday, Christmas, Cyber Monday, I'll have a general store where I'm selling anything really.
So you create multiple stores. It's kind of almost pop-up stores that are just in time.
Yeah, just pop-up stores. That's right.
And do you have how long does it take you from beginning to end to create do you work on a template?
Yeah, so to create a store, it doesn't take me longer than a day to get it done.
Yeah, and so okay, so now you've got the store, you've got the URL, it's out there. And how do you decide how you're going to promote the product? Is there like a template again that you work with?
It just depends, because obviously depending on the product depends on your buying community, and you've got to understand who your buyers are. And they could be on Instagram, they could be on Twitter, they could be on TikTok. So you have to do your due diligence and research to find out where your customers are, where the majority are, how good of quality are those people. Because you can go to where the majority of your customers are, but the actual quality of those people might be bad in terms of they might not buy from you. So you have to do quite a lot of due diligence. And once you've done this due diligence, then you can make a decision. Do I do this or do I do that? You can try both. But typically I do Facebook ads. That's the main one that I personally use.
Yeah, Facebook always gives you, it also is a great, would you consider that it's a great temperature taker? Like validating that you've decided right on a product, that it's got some legs.
Yeah, so I think me personally, I'd say Facebook is by far the best advertising platform to really, because the data that Facebook gives you from the Facebook pixel is like no other. And I think for Facebook, when you spend $500,
his feed has interrupted. Let's give it a second.
No worries.
Okay, sorry, Kamil, you froze on us there, and I just to the point where I asked you the question if you use it as validation that you made the right decision.
Yeah, Facebook is by far the best platform for validation, because the way the audience research, the pixel data works, it's by far the best one to understand if a product's got potential or not. Compared to like influencer marketing and stuff like that, you can't quite track the data as well as you can on Facebook.
Did you find it hard when you began, when you found a product, built the site, put it forward on Facebook, and you picked a lemon? Was it hard to let go of it and move on to something else? Or
Yeah. I think everybody who starts Shopify dropshipping, when you first have that one product that you decide to go with and you spend that money on, it's hard to let go of it because it's like you're attached to it. You're like, this is my first thing and I can't let go of it. And I've spent all this money on it. And it's hard to get off it. Yeah, it is really hard.
So let's kind of create expectations. So when you say we spent a lot of money on it, what does it cost you to bring a product to market? What is your total investment? And then what do you look at as a success once it's there?
So I look to spend minimum $500 to see how the product goes, the data, is it worth pursuing? And after $500, depending on the data that I receive, then I know straight away to scale it or to just completely move on.
So when we're talking about actual cash expenditure, the first part is you've invested at X number of hours finding and building the relationship with the company, which we won't get in the details of today, but that's obviously something that you'll get better at as you go along. Then you've built a Shopify or a WooCommerce site, which is a day's worth of work, gathering the images, putting the descriptions together. That's an investment. That's a sweat equity investment that you've put in. But then you start spending money, you build the ads, and you run $500 worth of Facebook ads, and then you take a step back and you look at how it's performing?
Yeah, that's correct, sir. So once I've launched the ads, literally, now the ads don't run for just one day. This is over a good 3 to 6 days. So it's not just in one day, it's over 3 to 6 days. And during those days, I'll make decisions whether I should turn things off, turn things on. So it's not as simple as just leaving it as well.
So you are deep in the Facebook ads pool.
We go really deep down to the bone.
But that's an amazingly short turnaround time to determine whether or not a product works. We're talking maybe 2 weeks from start to finish, if you're really concentrating on it, that you can know whether or not this is something that you're going to run with or not.
Yeah, there's different phases. You've got the testing phase, you've got the data collection phase, and then you've got the starting of the scaling, and then you've got the mid and then high scaling. So there's different phases to Facebook, and it's just about trying to get through each phase. It's like a challenge. You're just trying to get through the different parts of the challenge, and once you're at the end, you hit the rewards, which is obviously in dropshipping, the profit and the success.
So as you spent that first $500, what are you looking at for as far as a return on investment for that first couple of week period?
So the first week period, I'm looking to break even or to make a small profit. Now, I'm okay with losing $500. So let's say I've lost $500. I'm at a net loss of $500, meaning, let's say, for example, I spent $1,000. 500 of that is on marketing expenses. 500 on that is on product cost. So then I'll be at a 500 loss. So if I'm at a 500 net loss, then I would want to basically say, look, this is no good.
Yeah, it's not going to work. So do you then just completely pull the plug and not invest in it at all, like shut everything off?
Depending on what the data says, some of the data might say to me, look, Cam, you might need to give it a bit of time because maybe the season's not right at the moment and maybe come back to it a little bit later. Or I'll be like, yep, just need to completely cut it out and get on with something else.
So to give Raul is asking, he's saying, how much do you spend a day? So do you have kind of a typical, if it's looking at a 5-day period, how do you ramp it up?
Between $50 and $30. Now it depends on the product price. If the product's priced at $34.99 under, so $34.99 and under, I do $30 a day. Anything over that, then I do $50 a day till $79.99. Anything over $79.99, then I'm looking to do between $70 and $100 a day.
Okay, so as the product gets more, now when you're doing drop shipping, what is the margin? Like, how much are you earning of the total cost of the product?
Yeah, so I always say to people, you want to make a minimum $20 per unit. If you're not making at least $20, you won't make much profit when you're doing ads on Facebook.
So when you're actually sourcing your product, that means that you aren't even considering products that are under, say, $30.
Yeah, so let's say, for example, I buy a product for $5. I'm going to add $20 onto that. So let's say $24.99 would be my selling price.
Yeah, so that's kind of the minimum that you do. So you said the price. Do some manufacturers have thresholds that you have to sell it within?
No. When you start, you work with a company called AliExpress, UDroppy, CJ Dropshipping, and they're one product dropshipping, meaning you can order one product at a time. It doesn't matter what threshold it is. As soon as you get into the 30 to 50 orders a week, then you can start to get an agent, start to buy in small quantities. That way, you're going to get the product price down, which means your profit margins are obviously a lot higher. Your shipping times go up and stuff like that.
Okay. Now, how do you deal with returns?
So with returns, you've got two options. You can either get it sent to a PO box that you have, and then you can do what you want with it. You can either sell it back to the supplier, or you can sell it on, or you can just directly get it sent back to the supplier. Completely down to you which way you want to do it.
But does it end up costing you, like, obviously you lose the sale, but do you end up losing more than the sale? Or
no, because personally, when I work with a supplier, I say, look, if I get any returns and it's down to your fault, whether it be the quality product or whether it be you sending the wrong thing out or whether it be the damage of the goods, then you take responsibility for it and you pay for the refund of the actual shipping, basically. So the shipping payment to get back to the supplier, you're going to be paying for it.
Okay, so that's thanks for giving us. I mean, you've given me like so much food for thought. I think you can't look at this business opportunity without getting excited about it. I can see why it excited you when you were first out of school. It's there's so much freedom, so much flexibility, and so much of your own creative. It's almost the entire thing has almost been gamified, isn't it? It's almost like playing a game.
Yeah, dropshipping is one of the most amazing things ever. Now, don't get me wrong, it's definitely not a long-term business model. The long-term business model from dropshipping is getting a product that you find that's successful and making it a brand. So turning things into what we call white labeling it. So you take a product that's successful, you start designing your own packaging, your own design of the product, all the customer service kind of things. So dropshipping is like the small like bridge to the bigger picture. So dropshipping will teach you all the skills like advertising, making a website, and then once you've got all of those done, you've got a successful product. Then you're in the big pond where you've got your private labeling. Then you've got a company that can actually be worth something, and then you can sell it in the long term for a nice bit of money.
So have you reached that stage yet yourself?
Yeah, multiple times. I still do. Yeah, we've got three private label stores. And I still do dropshipping today. And then as soon as I find a product that's successful, I put it straight through white labeling, or I turn it into a niche store and then white label the whole niche. We've also got our own lingerie company. Me and my partner have started our own lingerie company where she hand makes all her lingerie, and I'm going with that.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. So the drop shipping process is a profitable venture, but it's a stepping stone.
It's a stepping stone. And the reason why it's a stepping stone is because if you get stuck in drop shipping, it's very inconsistent. You are going to get a higher return ratio because the shipping times can be a lot worse if you're not buying it in bulk. And not just that, but the competition is so high because anybody can steal your product. So if you've got a white labeled product, then it's harder because you've got branding that secures you.
When you go to white label, at that point there, do you bring all of those skills and then sign up for an Amazon FBA or something like that?
No, so once you've got all those, you go to Alibaba, DHgate, buy good, you contact the supplier, you offer to buy it in bulk between 100 and 500 units. And then you say, look, I want to add my logo to the product, and I also want my packaging design around my branding. They send over some artwork that you use as a template. You create it, send it back. They'll white label it. You send it to a fulfillment center like ShipBob Fulfillment, and they'll store all the products for you. And then you just get an agent that looks after the fulfillment center for you.
Oh, okay. And do you regionalize those fulfillment centers?
Yes. You want to strategically place those fulfillment centers near where the majority of your business is coming. So let's say my top countries are the United States and Canada. I'd obviously want to buy a fulfillment center in that region. If Europe's my main country for selling, then I would want a fulfillment center in the EU.
Okay, and and different products, I guess, are going to do better in different markets.
Yeah, there's so many variables that come into each bit.
Okay, let's get into the marketing side of it now, talking a little bit, because one of the videos that really prompted the invitation to get you on board here is you do a great job of teaching how to utilize what you call cinematic video for your Facebook ads. It's the feeling that they are absolutely the best format. And of course, our hosts here are in video, which is the tool that you teach people how to use. So talk to me a little bit about first of all, why is Facebook doing so well, and what's in with all of the changes in Ad Manager? What are you looking at as you're creating ads? And kind of give us an overview of your Facebook strategy, and then we'll dive down into the actual creation of the ads.
Yeah, so the Facebook, the reason why Facebook's the best still is because the Facebook Pixel, no other marketing platform comes close to what you can do with the Facebook Pixel. With the Facebook Pixel, you can create audiences based on previous purchases, previous website clicks, and no other marketing platform, enables you to do the exact same thing, which is basically cloning people, which is insane. So my Facebook actual strategy is so if we talk about the creative side first, I like to start with 5 to 10 different videos. And when I say different videos, I mean the first 5 seconds being different, or the music can just be different. The music can make a massive difference. So those are the 2 differences that I make in my video ads when I create 5 different videos. And then I'll create one campaign. I'll make it a CBO campaign, which stands for campaign budget optimization. It spends the money on the campaign level, not the ad set level. With Facebook, you've got campaigns, ad sets, and ads. Campaign is where you design everything. Ad set is where you do the targeting, your demographics. The ad is like the video, the copywriting, and all that stuff. So I'll create a CBO campaign. I'll do it, and again, it depends on the product price. Let's say my product's $44.99. I'll make the CBO campaign $50, and then I'll create 5 ad sets inside of that campaign. Each ad set has a different interest. Interest meaning who are you targeting? Let's say I'm selling a dog lead. I might want it target something like dog lovers. So I'll target dog lovers. And then I want my potential reach, meaning how many people this could potentially reach, between 10 and 200 million people. And the reason why you want it so broad is because the Facebook machine learning is so good, where it can just find anybody in that audience size. Then what
that's where you have to trust Facebook and be patient a little bit. Let them figure it out, right?
Yeah, let them do what they need to do. And then what I also do is I do e-packet countries, which you can Google them and it'll give you the list of the e-packet countries. And those are around about 39 to 40 countries. It just depends which ones, because some of them I add, some of them I get rid of. Depends on the product. And then you want to be doing English all as a language, because you're targeting the e-packet countries. There are a few countries in there where their first primary language might not be English. So it's important that you do English all that way. You're going to get English speaking people within those countries. And then what I like to do is I like to do automatic placements, which means Facebook decides where they will show your ad based on their machine learning. And then I like to do a minimum ad set spend of $5 per ad set. That way it lets Facebook evenly test each ad set fairly. That way I can then narrow down later on, of course. And I like to set a schedule. So I like my ads to run the next day, midnight. That way it's even, everything's fairly done. And then in the ad level, I like to do, like I said, 5 ads, 1 ad per ad set. And each ad has a different ad headline, different ad copy, different thumbnail, and different video. And the reason why I do so many different things is because, again, I'm in the testing phase where I want to test loads of different attributes out. So then after I've spent a couple of $100s, I know then what's working and what's not working. So then I can scale out what is working. And that's pretty much my strategy.
That was a mouthful. Couldn't you?
Yeah.
People right now. So let me go right back to the beginning when you talked about the ads themselves. So if we're talking about the cinematic ads that you create, video ads, you said something which, tell me if I'm getting this right, that you could like to create 4 or 5 different versions of that ad, but sometimes you'll just change the first 5 seconds. But now you've worked hard on creating a good, what you feel is a good description or a good piece of ad copy. You've done a good job of copywriting. By just changing the first 5 seconds, you don't have to recreate 5 complete ads, but you'll get a completely different energy and you'll get a completely different buy-in from Facebook, because the first 5 seconds is what's most important, right? That's what is going to hook the person or not.
Yeah, so it's the first 5 seconds of the make or break. So that's why it's so dramatic. People might think, only 5 seconds, is that it? But it makes a massive difference.
But think about the writer's block and the challenge we have. We've already got questions about how you do your copywriting, which we'll talk about in a few moments. But so many marketers, the challenge is creating that good, compelling copy. If you've crafted copy that you know is good, but it's a far less daunting task to change the top 5 seconds to give a different feel and to kind of give you a different intro than to write 5 more complete ads. I just think from a energy point of view that you can create a lot more copy, because sounds like you create a lot of different ads.
Yeah, dude, there's been times where I've made 40 different ads. It's crazy.
You ever get lost in which one's
There's times where I'm sitting there like, oh, have I already done this or have I not? Like, your brain just blows up and it's like you can't even think sometimes.
Now, do you use any tools to help you in that?
Yeah, I use InVideo. InVideo is a tool that I use a lot of.
Yeah.
It's got even better and better and better over the time I've been using it, especially now with the new timeline that you guys have got. It's insane. I use Final Cut Pro as well. And they're the two softwares that I actually use.
What about for managing and actually doing the reporting and deciding which ads? Do you just rely on Facebook Ads Manager for that?
Rely on the Facebook Ads Manager. Their dashboard interface has got everything you need to do everything. And
it's improving all the time, but you have to stay so on top of it. It's like a full-time job staying up with them.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, Facebook's one of the Facebook give you the best rewards, but if you ever have any problems, they're the worst people to deal with. Honestly.
Oh yeah. No, we everybody online has shares that experience with you. So walk me through a little bit. One of the things that was really interesting, one of the videos that we'll be sharing, you walk through the entire process for creating these cinematic ads that you do on Facebook. And I was amazed with the number of different resources that you draw on to create the copy or to create the elements within the video.
Yeah. 100%. So I use different resources. So I use YouTube, Amazon, AliExpress, and then the Shutterstock videos inside of InVideo. It's very important when you use AliExpress, you contact the supplier and ask them if they're the original owner of the content, because you obviously want permission to use that content. And it's important that you do, or it's very important that you credit the source where you got the content from. Because you have to have it. You have to have permission if you want to reuse it for commercial reasons.
And in Facebook, they will slap you, and you could put your entire venture at risk by using non-copyright.
Oh, dude, Facebook's algorithm now knows if you're using somebody else's stuff, and they'll either ban you or they'll just completely rinse you by letting your ads run, but the results you get are just so bad. But it's like a way of them saying, you know what, because you've done somebody else dirty, we'll do you dirty. And it's quite funny. And it's not even just that, but that person who has that content could just copyright sue you, dude, and that's it. Loads of money gone.
So that's one thing that made my ears perk up when I watched your video. Was the first thing that you did as you were looking at you take people through a nice narrative of, I think you're looking at a massage gun, or as you say,
massage muscle gun. That's it. That's it.
So you took them through, but when you took us to the Alibaba page, there had to have been 60 that looked identical of these different manufacturers that make this particular, or that will provide you with this gun. But you went through looking for who had the best social sharing resources, and you found ones that had good video that you knew you could use. So then you took their video that they shot, and then you incorporated that in your ad set as step one. I think most of us don't think about doing that. We think about the challenge of creating original content ourselves. But you do it from more of a research point of view, saying who has great content that I can incorporate that makes my job downstream easier.
100%. So what I do is when I'm testing a product, I want to try and limit the risk. And like I said, I try and get content that I can reuse with permission. And then as soon as a product does successful numbers, let's say $10,000, then I will create a 3D, 2D animated video of the product. That way it's all my content. And then once I'm doing 50,000, I will actually send the product off to a professional photographer, videographer to actually shoot my own custom video. And then I'll edit it, or they'll edit it. Depends on what agreement we have.
Would you consider each of those steps to be waypoints on the way to white labeling?
Of course, 100%. So each one has a milestone, and that goes closer to obviously the white labeling. As soon as you're getting your own videos made for the product, you should be trying to white label the product straight away.
Okay, that's terrific. So people are asking, they're so interested in the dollars and cents involved in the money. Let me just find here. I'm scrolling back and looking at a few questions here. But so let's see here. Somebody asked, they have 15 sales in 30 days. So do you, instead of looking at numbers, looking at return, when you first list a product, are you talking about 2, 3, 4 sales a day, or 20, 30, 40 sales a day? What are the numbers that, typically you're seeing when you launch a product?
Yeah, so these are the metrics that I look for. So I've got a 24-hour rule, a 48-hour rule, and a 72-hour rule. Now, this is per ad set. So the 24-hour rule is I want a cost per click lower than $1. So if it's higher than $1, I'll turn it off and I'll change it. Okay. Then the 48-hour rule is one add to cart or initiate checkout. If I don't have that per ad set, then I'll turn it off and replace it. Then
Well,
the
one sale per ad set minimum.
So it was one add to cart or initiate checkout after 48 hours.
Okay.
And then the 72-hour rule is one sale per ad set, and if it doesn't, turn it off, replace it.
Oh, okay. So you don't actually. So you've got 4 days basically to make a sale. Is it 4 days? No,
3 days. 3 days.
3 days to make, because then you can fit, because you've only spent $50 on it at that point. Or
yeah, you would have spent 50. So if you're doing $30 a day, it'll be 369. So it'll be $90 a day. If it's the $50 a day, you'd have spent 150.
So even though it's not profitable at that point, because you have a sale at that point there, you know that it's worth your beginning to tweak it.
No, not necessarily. It's about what I define a winning product in the early stages is a product that can get between 3 and 7 sales daily consistently.
Okay. And Larry's asking, what's involved in getting permission to use the vendor's content? Do you find they're responsive when you email them?
Yeah, so when you're contacting people on AliExpress, you want to be using WeChat or WhatsApp or the AliExpress contact, and you just want to send them a message saying, look, I love the product. Is the video that's on your selling page your content? And if so, am I able to use it? Now, if they say yes, you can obviously go and use it. If they say no, then you can ask them, do you have a video available, or do you have somebody in the warehouse that can shoot me a video? Because they've got the video on them. They've got the product on them anyway. It's not hard for them to quickly go out and shoot a video, you know? It's quite easy for them to do that. Or you can say, can you put me in contact with somebody you may know that can help me find video content? And it's very important that you say to the supplier, look, the reason why I'm asking for this is because I want to try and make you a lot of money by selling a lot of this product.
Do you ever worry that now, do you test every product yourself? Do you get them to ship you one so you know it's a decent product?
Yeah, 100%. And the way I do this is because a lot of the products that you'll find are all on Amazon. So I've got Amazon Prime. So I order the product the day after I get it and I know what it's like.
And you make sure it's from the same, because as in the case of that massage gun, there was, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, there's so many different variants, but like I said, you order it on Amazon Prime because they're all on Amazon as well, and then you just get it delivered to your house, and you know straight away what the product quality is like.
Yeah, and that'll help you. That'll help inform your decision at that point there. So let me just I'm just checking through, looking through the questions. We've got lots of comments from people. They're interested in information. There was one thing that you did as well in the video is you didn't just look to the manufacturer's video, but you went and you looked at what other sellers were doing. And
yeah, cool.
In some cases you utilized parts of their video. Is that because the parts of the video that you would snag there were the ones that the manufacturer had created?
Yeah, so a lot of guys that are advertising the products online, they get their content from the suppliers themselves.
Okay, yeah, and so you make, if it's, so at that point there, you would then have the rights to that. And how would you verify that that's okay?
So the best way to verify it is you can do a backwards research. So if you get the video URL, you can do a it's like an image reverse search, and then you can find out where it's come from. Okay,
kind of like the TinEye thing works. Now you say that you get between a 5 to 8% click-through rate on your videos. Now is that a pure click-through rate, or is that on the view of the video that they click through?
Yeah, so it's a click-through rate. It's not unique. It's just a normal click-through rate. Now it's between 3. So I like to try and go for between 3 and 8%. So on average, I'm between the 3 and 8%. Sometimes I can be at 2.5, but normally it's between 3 and 8%.
That's a pretty high number, though.
Yeah, that's just above industry standard. Now, click-through rate doesn't always mean it's important, because at the end of the day, like, click-through rate is important, but if you've got lots of watch time, like if you've got a high watch time of 75%, 95%, and 100%, that's just as important. So click-through rate isn't always the must-have metric.
So let's talk about scaling then. So you've got a product that you've decided it's past your 72-hour rule, you've gotten some sales on it, and now you're starting to scale that. How long a process is that, and what does the scaling look like?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
scaling scaling once your ads once so you've got a product that's past that 72-hour window where you've got some sales, some of the ad sets are converting that you've created. How do you then go about determining what, because you're gonna want to turn it into an automatically repeating thing that you're not massaging all the time yourself. We're back to the massage gun. But so how do you scale that? How much time does it take you to get a product to the point that it's running kind of hands off?
Yeah, so the scaling process is getting to a stage where you've got 5 interests that are doing well consistently. Now, again, an interest is basically a phrase where it will target an individual. Also, you also want to make sure that you get to the lookalike and retargeting stage. Once you get to the lookalikes and the retargeting stages, that's when you can scale, because lookalikes are basically where you take data from previous behaviors like link clicks, watch time, all of that, and you can create audiences based on it. So once you get to the lookalike stage, and to get to the lookalike stage, the first one you will tend to do is a video view lookalike at 75.95, and to do that you just need 1,500, which isn't that much. After around about 4 to 5 days, you can actually get that. The next one is your your page views, and to do that you need 3,000, and again after around about a week and a half you can get that. And as soon as you do lookalikes for those with a CBO campaign, you can start to increase your budgets very aggressively, and you can get to a CBO budget of $300 a day within about 2 to 3 weeks, and then at that stage you should be doing some decent numbers on your ad account.
Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I understand those pieces. So when you start, once the campaigns are running, you're driving. This is why it's important to have a Shopify page, because you're driving traffic to that page, dropping the pixel on them, and that pixel is what's going to create your lookalike audiences, and also is going to create your retargeting audiences, correct?
So the pixel will gather all the information so you can do your retargeting, you can do your lookalikes. Now, retargeting basically means, let's say people have added to the cart. Let's say 100 people have added to the cart. You can retarget those people that have added to the cart on Facebook and say, look, you'd make a new creative, and the new creative would say, look, we see that you're interested in our product. Check out our reviews, and then you can make a video of loads of different reviews of the product, and then you can say in the ad copy, use this code to get 10% off.
Yeah, so you'll do that side of the retargeting. But this is why it's important, I think, to recognize going through not using a bigger fulfillment service like an Amazon. Why it's important to have your own Shopify site, because you want to own that customer data.
100%. So with Amazon, you're very, very it's hard to explain. You've got no control. Like if Amazon one day wanted to shut you down, they've shut you down. If Amazon wanted to stop doing this, they stopped doing this. The profit margins on Amazon are very small compared to Shopify dropshipping. So if you want bigger profit margin, so a lot of people will start with Amazon, eBay, and then once they get a bit of money, they'll move to Shopify dropshipping because they know that's where all the money's at. With Shopify dropshipping, you can create a brand. With Amazon, the buying page is the buying page for everyone. Everybody's got the same looking buying page. With Shopify, you can create your own looking buying page. You can't do that on Amazon. So you got more control of how the customer behaves for yourself and your business.
Okay. Now I lost my question as I was wandering here. How many campaigns do you keep going at a time? How many products are you kind of actively involved in?
So outside of Q4's from September till December, I'm doing around about 1 product a week. Now, if I find a winner, then I'll just stick with it, and I will never do more than 2 products at a time, even if they're winners, because it can get a bit messy. But I normally do 1 product a week if it dies out. Now, inside of Q4, I'll do between 4 and 8 products at a time, because in Q4 you're really aggressively trying to find what's working, and as soon as you do, you just spend a ton of money on it.
Now, is that new? Do you still have existing kind of evergreen products that are selling no matter what?
Oh yeah, you'll always have your forever green products that will do well pretty much all year round. Sometimes it spikes during the year, but you've got your forever green products. But I find with forever green products, you can't really maximize with forever green products. You can do, let's say, 6 figures maybe a month, but you can never. It's hard to do 7 figures with those products. With your trendy products, that's where you're hitting stupid numbers in a couple of weeks, couple of months.
And so staying ahead of those, so those are the ones that you do 1 per week until Q4, when you basically
Q4 is when everything goes nuts, dude. You're testing so much at one time, your bank account's going crazy. Q4 is a messy time of the year, man.
Now, do you there was a couple of, let me just check the questions here. I think we're pretty good. I think we have pretty good stuff. So learning to do this, getting started. What's the point us towards your site and tell us kind of what the journey is and how long it takes people to master the skills.
Yeah, so I say mastery takes 10 years. I've always said mastery takes 10 years. I stick closely by it. I always say to people, always a student, never a master. You should always be a student and just stick in the student lane. Now, to actually get good at drop shipping, where you can make some like replace your job kind of money, you're looking at about 1 to 3 years of consistency and giving it your best shot, you know? And where you can learn all the information, honestly, as my t-shirt says right here, you don't need to be paying for any courses. You don't need to be doing any of that kind of stuff. You can just learn it all off my YouTube channel. I've made plenty of free courses. You can just do it.
Ecom King, you've got some terrific content there. This is the ultimate side hustle. I mean, it is. If you are still working a job, you can do this in 3 or 4 hours of work a night. 2 or 3 nights a week to kind of get your feet under you, to learn what you need to know, to test out your first product.
Yeah, dude, you only need 2 to 3 hours a day, honestly. 2 to 3 hours a day. And let's say you're working a job, wake up 1 hour early in the morning, go to bed an hour later in the evening. There you go. Good
stuff. And just one more shout out to our hosts. The job that you do with your videos. Now that I know who you are, I know that I've been getting some of your videos in my feed, and because I recognize, just because I do so much business within video, I recognize when something's been created using, if not them, somebody that's working very, in a very, very similar format. But they're a game changer for creating the content, because at the end of the day, the one big roadblock in this whole thing is those ads, isn't it? I mean, is that the biggest challenge for your students to master, is getting the ads right?
Yeah, I think ads are always a problem, because when you scale with Facebook, you'll get lots of inconsistencies because your ads will throttle, meaning Facebook's fed up with them and they want to see new content. Facebook's forever wanting to push new content, which means you need to be making more ads and more ads. So your ideas start to slow down and it gets a little bit messy, but it's a forever battle.
Excellent. So I'm going to leave you with one last question, and it's by Axley. Is it Axley? Okay. Akshay. Anyways, he's asking, at the end of the bottom line is, if you are into 6 or 7 figures, what are you looking for your profit?
15 to 35% is your net profit.
So you have to stay on top of things. There's not a lot of fat in there.
No, it's 15 to 35%. So let's say, for example, I've done 6 figures in a month. There's a higher chance it's going to be around about 15 to 20%. So you can do the math. You're looking at between $15,000 and $20,000.
That's on the dropship products. What about white label? Do you increase
white label? You can go all the way up to 40 to 50%.
That's where we should be striving for. That's
why I'm saying it's the end goal, and it's not even just that, but once you've got a white labeled brand, once it dies out, you can sell it for at least minimum 500,000.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Once again, your YouTube channel, the Ecom King. Have people check it. Can I get you to just hold on a sec? I'm just going to put you in the room. I'm just going to let people know about what's coming up next week.
Yes, sir.
Hang on for a half sec. And my thanks. I enjoyed. I learned a lot. I know. I always think that these shows, I'm never too sure when I get really interested in a topic whether or not we've served the community as well. But I know I have learned a lot this week. So thanks so much for that. Next week, oh my goodness, next week, speaking of learning a lot, I think one of the smartest people I know in the world of live streaming, Stephanie Louise, is going to be joining us. Stephanie is, I think she's probably the most accomplished technical live streamer that I know. She does just a brilliant job of recognizing what works and what doesn't work in the world of live streaming. And we're going to be looking at the world of Instagram Live with Stephanie next week. So you're going to want to put that on your calendar for the next episode of Just Between You and Me. Once again, my thanks so much to Kamil Sattar. He is the Ecom King. Check out the videos. They are, they sucked me in. I lost about 2 hours. Excuse me, I lost about 2 hours last couple of days watching them. Learned a lot. Learned even more from them here today. Till next time, I'm Steve Dotto. Have fun storming a castle.